Have you ever noticed how your phone screen stays warm long after you've put it away? Almost like it's been breathing against your palm while you weren't looking? The truth is, the woman you see smiling on daytime TV isn't made of flesh and bone. She's made of frequencies that feed on the exact moment you realize you're no longer alone in your own house. Why do you think the person on your screen is smiling? Do you think it's for you? Or is it because she can see the exact moment your heart starts to fail through the camera lens? Stop listening now if you want to keep believing your world is safe. You think you know why the world's most famous DJ ended his life. You don't. You think that daytime talk show was about being kind? It wasn't. For 10 years, the royalty of daytime TV hid an ancient hunger. I worked on that set. I saw the music stop. I saw the lights go out. And I saw what happens when a human smile stays on for too many centuries. Ellen's smile wasn't just fake, it was a trapdoor. And the closer Stephen Twitch Boss got to the lock, the darker things became. His death was called a suicide, but I saw the shadows moving behind his eyes. If you keep listening, you'll understand why I burnt my career and buried my phone. Because once you see her eyes turn into solid, oily ink, you aren't a viewer anymore. You're an offering. When I got the job, it felt like I'd finally made it. After years of editing trash reels and doing audio cleanup for people who didn't exist, I landed a spot on the Ellen Show. I wasn't some temp, I was full-time. It felt like winning a golden ticket to a temple of light. My mom actually cried. My friends begged for VIP passes. I started believing the myth that this show was a beacon of goodness in a dark world. Ellen was a household god, kind, funny, and safe. But almost immediately, the air changed. It wasn't a sudden scream. It was a slow rot. I'd pass the framed photos of celebrities in the halls and feel their eyes track me. Not like a painting, like a hunter. I thought I was paranoid, but the feeling of being watched became a physical weight. Sometimes I'd be alone in the sound booth and feel a cold hand on my chest, pressing down, checking to see if my heart was still beating. There were no footsteps, no shadows. Just an invisible gaze that made my spine turn to ice. I started calling it the glass, like a layer of thick, cosmic slime had settled between me and the real world. I could still sync the audio, but I knew the studio itself was breathing. Then there was Twitch. He was the only thing that felt human in that building. But when he danced, it wasn't for the crowd. It was like he was trying to shake something off his skin. He called us family, but his eyes were always searching the corners of the room for something we couldn't see. That's what made it so hard to watch him change. It started with the pacing. Twitch began showing up at 4 a.m., checking light fixtures and mic placements as if they were hidden traps. He held his phone like a weapon. One day, I passed him in the hallway. I said, "Good morning." He looked through me, his smile flickering like a dying light bulb. He whispered, "Keep your head down." And I realized he wasn't talking about work. He was talking about survival. That was the day I noticed the other cameras. Small, black lenses duct-taped behind vents and hidden in the dirt of dead potted plants. They weren't filming the stars. They were facing us, the crew, the dancers, the meat. It was like someone had taken the studio and shifted it into a different dimension. Doors appeared where there were only walls yesterday. Mirrors didn't show your reflection until you were inches away, and even then, your face looked wrong. I stopped using the bathrooms near her dressing room because I heard my own voice whispering to me from inside the drains. I tried to blame stress. I tried to blame Hollywood, but something darker was growing under the floorboards, especially whenever Ellen entered the room. She'd glide in like she was on rails, a smile too wide for a human face. And every time she passed, the temperature dropped until my breath turned to mist. Her presence sucked the life out of the air. You couldn't look at her directly, or you'd get dizzy. It wasn't fame. It was a frequency that human ears weren't meant to hear. One intern threw up after Ellen patted her on the shoulder. The girl never came back. We joked about it to hide our terror, but we all felt the rot. Then the walls seemed to breathe, exhaling a stench of decay that whispered our names in voices we didn't recognize. I'd see him sitting alone on the edge of the stage, staring into the dark rafters like he was listening to a voice in the static. His hands would be shaking. I caught him whispering about the mirrors and what they really see. He told me once, "Never stare into the dark glass too long. It eventually stares back." I laughed because I was scared. But that night, I had my first nightmare. I was in Studio 3, but everything was reversed. A mirrored version of the world. Ellen was standing where Twitch usually danced. Her face was a mask of gray skin. Her lips were stretched past her ears, and her eyes were nothing but massive, black holes. Her voice was the sound of 1,000 dying radios. I can see you watching. I woke up to a notification on my phone. File received. Control02 final.move. I hadn't downloaded anything. I tried to delete it, but it kept reappearing on my desktop like a digital tumor. Something shifted after that. Twitch stopped dancing. His soul had retreated. His smile looked like it had been stapled to his face by a coroner. I heard him muttering that she knew he was pulling back. I didn't know who she was, but my gut did. Off camera, Ellen's expressions lingered too long. Her voice would drop into a low growl. When she laughed, it never touched her eyes. She was always watching Twitch from doorways, her office window, or the shadows. The studio started enforcing safety protocols. No eye contact, no talking, no lingering. We weren't a crew anymore. We were a collection. One night, I finally opened the file. I locked my door and pressed play. The video was grainy security footage from Twitch's private room. He sat alone, looking directly into the camera. He looked like a ghost. He whispered, "If you're watching this, I didn't do it to myself. She doesn't let you leave until she's done feeding. She's not a person. There's something underneath her skin, something that needs obedience. It's a hunger." He held up a burnt piece of paper with her real name on it, but the video glitched. The pixels screamed. When it resumed, Twitch was crying, "Please don't trust the smile. It's a mask." I hear her in the silence. A sudden bang cut the footage. The screen went black, then one final frame flashed. A warped version of Ellen's face with eyes like spilled oil. The caption said, "Say nothing." The next morning, a sticky note was on my keyboard. "Curiosity kills careers." From that point on, Ellen started saying my name. She greeted me every day with a smile that felt like a knife. Once, she touched my shoulder and I smelled peppermint and rotting paper. She whispered, "You're very observant." That night, I slept in my car. I knew something was watching me through every screen and every mirror. Twitch started avoiding me, as if I was already dead. One afternoon, he whispered, "She knows who you are now." That was the last time I saw him before the file vanished from my computer, wiped clean, and still, she kept smiling. Tuesday started as nothing, but by the end, Twitch was just gone. No call-in, no message. He was scrubbed from the logs as if he'd never danced a day in his life. I found a folder in the cloud dump, time-stamped 3 days in the future. I opened a file called the feed.mov. It was Twitch in a distorted hallway. He looked terrified. He whispered that she moves through signals and frequencies. You think she's one person, but she's not. He showed a waveform on his phone, a whistle layered with voices. The captions read, "You are mine." Then he said, "She told me control isn't about fear, it's about worship." I felt a presence behind me. Ellen was in the doorway. Her teeth didn't match her voice. She led me to her office. It was humid, like a swamp. The orchids on her desk were turning black. She told me she knew what I found. Her eyes began to bleed black until the whites were gone. "Kindness is a trick," she said. "A leash made of sugar. You don't become me by being nice. You plant yourself in their thoughts until they obey. Control is the highest form of love." I asked what she did to Twitch. She whispered, "He danced for me." That was his offering. But he stopped believing. Her touch felt cold and wet, like fresh grave dirt. Light always forgets who owns the switch. When I turned around, she was gone. The room was empty. I quit that night and never went back. 2 months later, the news said Twitch was dead. I knew better. The drives I had with the evidence caught fire. No spark, just sudden, melting heat. I still feel her. My TV flickers. At 3:33 a.m., my speakers hiss. She moves through the signals. She's in the reflections. Why did you click this video? Was it curiosity? Or was it because she wanted you to see this? If you felt your chest tighten, she's already in your frequency. The truth is, that smile hid something ancient. What happened to Twitch was a warning. Like this video to spread the word. Subscribe to stay in the light. And whatever you do, don't look into the dark glass of your phone tonight. You never know who's looking back. Would you like me to tell you where the intern went? I thought I escaped when I threw that phone away. I was wrong. You don't leave her. She just lets the leash out a little further so you can lead her to new people. Last night, I looked in the mirror to brush my teeth and my reflection didn't move when I did. It just stood there, wearing that perfect, wide, daytime smile, while my own mouth was frozen in terror. The peppermint smell is so thick in my room now that I can taste it in the back of my throat, like I've been swallowing wet paper for hours. It's not just about a show or a DJ anymore. It's about the signal. Every time you see a screen flicker or hear a high-pitched hum in a quiet room, she's pulse-checking you. I found a new file on my laptop this morning, one I didn't download, on a computer that isn't connected to the internet. It was a live feed of me sleeping, shot from inside my own closet. In the corner of the frame, a hand was reaching out from between my shirts, a pale, long-fingered hand that looked like it was made of translucent wax. And now, I realize why she let me tell this story. By sharing this, by letting these words hit your ears, I've given her the bridge she needed to reach you. You're not just listening to a story, you're syncing your frequency to hers. Look at your screen right now. Is the light a little too bright? Does the air around you feel a little too cold? Don't turn around. She hates it when you interrupt the worship. She's already decided what your offering will be. If you felt a hand on your shoulder while watching this, like the video and comment IOB to keep the shadows at bay. Subscribe now before the signal cuts out forever. She's watching to see if you'll stay on the streets. This was a soft kill.